Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode. I'm Sifu Thommy and today's episode is all about how to escape a grab. This is Marco from South Africa. He's going to help me a little bit by miming the attacker, and this is what we're going to do. The situation looks as follows. The guy grabs you from the top. Now the first and most obvious thing for most people would be, why don't you give him a knee strike now, or why don't you headbutt him? Well, there are situations when this works, but the situation that we're in right now should be that he's really standing on my feet and maybe he jams me in a corner somehow and he's pushing toward me, so it's very difficult for me to headbutt him or to lift up my legs. Therefore, we will have to use the arms. Now, let me demonstrate the technique itself first and then breaking it down into learning steps. So the first thing I do is I use my elbow. I cannot really use my wrist if my opponent is stronger than me, right? So that's going to be very difficult for me to do anything with my hands. But my elbow and my shoulder are both free, and I make use of this. So my elbow rotates forward and inward, and you'll see that the opening of his hands is right here. So this is where my arm will then be able to escape from. Now, when this happens, of course, he is free to strike as well, which puts me in danger again. So I have to lock his arms up as well. So all I do when I turn a little bit here is that my lower hand actually grabs his upper hand, and then I'm able to strike. So one more time, the elbow comes up, I turn, grab, and strike. Let's take this into learning steps. So the elbow goes forward. I know it looks as if I lift up my wrist, but that's really not what it is. You really want to steer that motion by bringing the elbow up and then forward. And that's going to bring you into a position from where both arms are on top of each other. Now let's say you have the right arm on top. Then I want you, as a next step, to turn. Don't try to grab, don't become greedy and try to go for the opponent's arm. Just make sure that you release, that you get out of the grab first. So you bring the elbows up, stretch your fingers, and make sure that your fingers, the tip of your finger, ends with the elbow. Then we turn, then I grab, and then I strike. Now, how far I strike depends on how far away my opponent is. If he's very close to me, I'm going to give him an elbow. If he's further away, it's going to be a strike with my arms. So one more time, the arms go up, we turn, I grab and strike. Elbows come up, right arm on top, turn to the left, grab with the lower hand, and strike. Now, when you practice this with a partner, I recommend that you do it very, very slowly first and don't have him apply all his force into the whole thing first, so that you can really go step by step. And the more confident you feel at it, the more he is allowed to bring his force in there, and the more you increase the speed, obviously. So from here, first thing you want to do is you bring the elbow forward. Now make sure that both arms are really on top of each other, that it doesn't look like this or like that. It's just the right arm is on top, the left arm is underneath, and then I turn. Now pay attention to his thumb. By turning, he loses grip, and then my lower arm reaches out and gets hold of his upper arm. Now I can either elbow him, I can strike here, I can eye gouge, I can elbow, I can do pretty much whatever I want. And then you increase the speed and the intensity. So we go 1, 2, 3, and chain punches. 1, 2, 3, and you can add whatever you want afterward, but the actual technique is this. You speed it up a little bit, and then you allow him to apply his full force, and he should still not be able to get you because, again, you're not using the part that's occupied, you're using other joints. So that's it for today's episode. I hope you like the technique. I hope it's a bit useful for you. Practice it. If you should run into any questions, into any problems, shoot me an email on Facebook, hit me up over here, send me an email. And if you like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next Monday.